On two levels, I think it's really important to share my story. One is on a personal level. I suppressed that truth for a number of years, right? I kind of hid it and was ashamed of it and was made to feel ashamed of it. I realised that if I was going to continue like that, that was going to be really unhealthy for me, you know, because you just want to be able to stand in who you are, you know, as a human being.
Ninakaye has had quite the journey and has found that sharing her real story has been liberating.
How old were you when you entered the sex industry?
So I was 19 when I entered, yeah, and I stayed in it till I was 23.
Do you think people can be quite judgmental on sex industry workers?
100%, bro. Another part of why I wanted to come out was because over the years I've sensed and observed and experienced a lot of judgment against women who are in the sex industry within my own community, you know. And I've often thought, gee, that's a bit rough, you know, like, oh, they're sluts, they're hoes. And I've heard that over those years where I hadn't come out about it and struggled with that.
In her teens, Ninakaye was attracted to the punk scene. Alcohol and drugs became a part of her norm. After her parents split, she started doing her own thing. Then one day, a friend called with an offer.
I quickly fell into the punk scene and the drug and alcohol scene. Then I started playing in a band and I was starting to go a bit off the rails, you know, and then mum and dad had separated, so no one was really keeping an eye on me. And basically the relationship I'd been in for a couple of years ended and I just felt really lost, you know. I was just like, shit, I don't know what to do. Yeah, and then a friend, she contacted me and said, why don't you come up here to Auckland? She was working in the peep shows. So she said, I can get you a job easily. I've got a car, I've got a house with your own bedroom, we've got a swimming pool. You know, she just made it sound so good. Yeah. So I was like, yes, I'm going to do that, you know, like, why wouldn't I?
The adult sex industry crosses many fields, from pornography, prostitution to exotic dancing. Ninakaye stripped in clubs and peep shows. These are small rooms where a paying customer sits behind a tinted window while a performer dances on the other side, unaware who she is dancing for.
Was that your life for a few years?
Yeah, yeah, it was. Yeah. It was my life for a few years. And I would be working 12-hour shifts, if not more, by myself, sitting in a room out the back bottom of a massage parlour, just waiting for the buzzer to go beep, you've got a show.
Ninakaye describes her involvement in the sex industry as an eye-opener.
I saw lots of mothers, which always amazed me. I knew of women who were in it because they had a habit, like they were drug addicts, and it was to kind of just feed their habit. Probably the most negative thing from it all that I've realised is the psychological stuff. And when you're in it, you don't realise that. It's when you come out that you realise that it's actually had an impact on your psyche. That can take a while to unlearn.
Years in the industry started taking a toll.
I feel like at the entry point into the sex industry is when I was probably the most onto it and organised in that whole period of time. But then I kind of just went off the rails again, you know. So looking back, I can see how I kind of just kept going, like spiralling. And the only way that it was going to end was either if I totally like overdosed or something, or ended up in a gutter.
She felt a calling, a strong pull towards her koro and whānau.
I just had this idea that I needed to go and see my grandfather who lived down in Waitomo. I was so determined that I had to go and see him that I went and told my boss that I wasn't going to come into work that weekend, which was huge because I'd never taken time off, right? I got down there and I just felt like a fish out of water. So it was the first time I'd really been by myself around my whānau, wearing crazy clothes, I was a drug addict, everything. And that was where my grandfather told me the story about the name that I had been given, because I knew I was Nina, but he said I also had Hikurangi. So he told me the story about that tūpuna, right, and how she had traversed at a young age from Te Aroha Maunga across mountains and rivers to Waitomo to be with our tūpuna uekaha. So that whole story he told me, it completely triggered something in me that made me feel like I could identify with her and her journey. It was just like a whoa moment. And that was, to me, the catalyst for why I left the industry, because when I got back to Auckland, I went back into work and I said to them that I wasn't going to do it anymore, you know. And that's when I also quit alcohol and drugs. It's almost a bit cliche, but the calling and the learning about myself and my whakapapa and my culture, that reconnection was what woke me up.
Years later, Ninakaye's life is bright and exciting. Now she's on a different kind of stage. Sober for 20 years, she shares her lived experience with others. She's also a successful music manager, managing her brother, Tikitane, and a champion for Māori inside the music industry. But she has rules in place to keep herself mentally strong.
20 years later, I won't touch a drop, you know. I'm like, I feel like it's always been my protective thing, is to just say no to alcohol, full stop, because I don't want to go back there. And a friend of me said to me recently, do you really think you would actually, like now, after 20 years, that you would go back there? And I'm like, I thought about it, and then I was like, yeah, there's always a possibility, you know, like there really is. There's always a possibility that I could go handy and end up doing something even more full on. That's what I tell myself to keep myself safe. Yeah.
In Tāmaki Makaurau is 23-year-old Amarni. She turned from bartender to stripper after her partner, who worked in the same club, cheated on her.
Once he did that, I was like, well, I'm going to be the baddest stripper in New Zealand. I want everyone to know who I am. I want to make the most money out of everyone. And then became a dancer, and I've been stuck in the industry ever since.
Angel to her whānau, Amarni to her fans. She's made it in the industry, both profile-wise and financially.
How much money can you make in the stripping scene, like on a night?
There's no limit to how much money you can make in a strip club.
Yeah. Are we talking like hundreds or thousands?
We're talking like thousands.
Yeah.
Like thousands, I'm not even kidding you.
Like Ninakaye, Amarni has had a rocky time in the sex industry, experiencing the highs and the lows.
I went through a massive phase in my life where I was addicted to drugs and I was addicted to alcohol. Mum was worried about me sick every single night because she knew what I was doing, you know? I used to finish work, go to gang pads and stay at gang pads until one time I actually got held in the head with a shotgun. I remember coming home and like screaming to Mum about it. After that situation, where that happened, my whole life changed, the way I thought, the way I made my money, the way I saved it.
Amarni has gathered quite the following on social media, amassing over 28,000 followers. The former Ōtautahi resident has made a living out of it.
Just so you've got actually a bit of a side hustle as well.
OnlyFans is like my main source of income. It's kind of something where I can post up, similar to like me stripping at a club or something like that, but at least I can stay home and get paid for it. And I upload videos, photos, special requests. A lot of people look down on us because they think that it's like a porn site.
And that's helped her set up her dream business, Blanco Beauty, in West Auckland. As independent as she is, Amarni's mother has always been her backbone.
What was Angel like growing up? She looks a bit cheeky there.
Angel is cheeky, even to this day she's still cheeky, but yeah, she was. She's not shy at all. She was the only girl to be picked for the Canterbury New Zealand cricket team.
Lots of your photos are just you two, has that always been the case?
Yeah, it's just always been, yeah, tag team. Just us, yeah.
I think out of my whole family, Mum's always been the only one that's helped me. I think his dad just never was there for me. It's always just been me and Mum.
To me, stripping is nothing. You come in this world naked, it's no big deal, you know? So I don't have a problem with it, not at all.
I can talk to her about anything, you know? There's no secrets that I have with my mum. She's just really good to talk to. She knows how to calm me down. She just knows everything about me. So I think that's one thing that I love about you.
For many women in the industry, it's not their dream gig, but it is their reality. These wahine are speaking out now. They hope the public might think twice about being so judgmental.
I still deal with whakamā today, about it, but I just keep pushing through and putting myself out there with the message, because I want to help other women come to that place as well and not feel so much whakamā that they can't even say, this is what I've done or this is who I am,
I don't want people thinking that stripping's bad, or it's disgusting, because it's not. It's not a disgusting job. People just have this perception of us sleeping with every single person and doing all this other stuff, when really we just go there to work, we hustle. Most of us have families, most of us don't have a choice, to have a normal job. Some people have mouths to feed, a roof to put over their heads, kids, solo mums, I did what I needed to get by, feed us, help mum out, pay for stuff, and that's what this job gave me. I don't want people thinking that I'm saying to be a stripper because you're going to get this, or you're going to become the next Cardi B, the next Amber Rose, because it's not like that. It's not like that for everyone.
Oh, I'm really proud of her because, like I say, with all her anxieties, it would have been easy just to chuck it all aside,
Because you've seen me at my darkest,
Yeah.
my lowest. It wasn't
Yeah.
easy for me to get to where I am now.
No, and you still got issues.